Our next highlight of the day is Steph Pheffer. I was asking her whole background, but I just call her the English teacher because she's always correcting my misspelled words on text and stuff going out. So she's my biggest fear in life. But Steph is, her and her husband are highly successful. They've made a lot of money. Her husband was really high up in corporate America. Steph has been in corporate America herself. She's a hypnotherapist. She's a master nutritionist. She's just a type A driver. She's exploded through the ranks of our company. She comes here with no network marketing experience, but you would think she knows everything. She's now a leader to everybody. So, Steph, tell us how you navigated that. How did you go from the fear of starting to now leading the masses of people to a better life?
Okay, so let me just say this. Whatever you see today, right? Everybody's life is a book. So here's my book. And if you can't read it because it's backwards, it says, I work for God. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my why chapter a little bit because when Fred Duff talked about that, I thought that's brilliant. Okay. So here it is, brief and tight. We had a really sick child who lost the ability to walk, and he literally was terrorized by these internal infections and Lyme disease. And if you've seen that book or movie, Brain on Fire, that's really how it was. He lost the ability to walk. He had something called pots and pans, and he did not feel safe in his own body. This was exhausting for him and for many people in our community who've had the same journey, just kind of a different diagnosis. And he really, really was so exhausted, he wanted to die because torture is no way to live when you're not safe in your body. Once we survived the medical community trying to medically kidnap him, reporting us to CPS, we were able to get through that journey and see him heal. Now, as you can imagine, for all of us who've been on that journey, especially as the caretaker, a lot of marriages don't survive, jobs are lost. You're in fight or flight constantly because you are literally fighting for the healing of your person. So he healed, thank you, by the touch of the hand of God and some great medical providers. But I was a wreck. My cholesterol had gone up crazy. My A1C was going up. And I did not survive that journey to then be sick and go down myself. So my good friend Susan Cameron recommended homeopathy. I'd seen that work for a lot of people. So Susan gets me with a world-renowned doctor in Europe. I've got all my little homeopathic. She calls me, hey, I found something better. I'm like, oh, no, 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 sister. I have all this. I started 2 weeks in, seeing the drops and the effect on her and Pawpaw and her in-laws and her families. I was like, I am there. I started the drops right away and then quickly got involved in the business aspect of it. Having less than 200 followers on Facebook, I didn't really know what Venmo was or apps. I mean, I was about as illiterate as you could be. And I was fine with that. I said, this sounds cuckoo enough to me from attraction marketing to see if it works. So I did dive in because I can follow really well. And I love being the apprentice of the mentors, right? So first thing I did was I got on the IPAs all day, every day. First one was Easter Saturday, and I was furious there was no IPA. It was Easter Saturday, people. Okay. Then the next week I started like clockwork because this was to build me up, to engage me, to get involved. I loved it. I also started leaning into boards just to learn the basics, and I was able to make some of my own boards. So really quickly, I could just bang some stuff out. In about 5 weeks, I did sell 30 boxes, and that was super exciting to me because that again was like, wait, what's going on here? Then I began watching many business presentations, specifically Ashley's. I was just so drawn to her vocabulary, to what she said. Now, this was 14 months ago, so it was definitely a different climate back then. I started listening to her vocabulary, people she would highlight. Then I started watching Todd back then on like Super Saturdays. And I was blown away by the testimonials. Hearing other people's healings and progress and journey starts to instill the confidence in yourself, even if you don't know them. A few weeks later, I jumped down to Colorado Springs. I heard Brent Palmer say, hey, if somebody's in your area, get your butt down there. And I did. And it was Julie Park's house. And I saw the gold standard of how to conduct a drops party. That was amazing. Also in person, to hear and see people hold up their fat pants, talk about their medical healings. Oh my gosh, more and more layers of confidence and credibility. I just continued selling my drops. I was then starting to build because it was like drinking from a fire hose initially. My lips were blown off because so much product was going out. I started to build a downline, and that was very interesting. Because then your people begin to flourish and grow, and they have questions and they have needs. So then I started to develop a little bit more of the management side, the coaching side, the teaching side. The one thing that really did help me is I do have a strong miracle morning in which I wake up each day and I journal and I move my body on the mini tramp. So I have a routine that helped me because I was setting myself up with some consistency and some good habits and patterns. I'm just checking my reference. Thank God for Susan Frank. Susan Frank is like, sell boxes and get brand partners. Sell boxes and get brand. So that's the mantra, right? Because it's easy to get distracted based on how your brain works. And my brain works a little differently. So I want to follow and emulate the people that are doing and already where I want to be. Now, the challenge is my brain is wired a little bit differently than Susan Frank's. So sometimes, speaking to Bob, I just had to put my ego aside and say, I'll try it the Susan Frank way or the Susan Cameron way. And then ultimately, this is really what helped me is I had to rewire, well, I don't want to sell. I don't want to sell. I understand women share. We share nail polish, movies, recipes. I get that. So sometimes you have to really rewire in your brain. It is the sharing and it's the offering of hope, of the ability to wake up and feel so good that it's even hard to convey to people because you sound like you've lost your marbles. But here's the deal. If you follow the system of growth, if you plug into the IPAs, if you pay it forward in some instances to other people and not think about what you're going to get, but what you can give, you will succeed. You will succeed in this.
Todd, you're muted.
You said there in that speech exactly the secret to success, and that is you plugged in. So many times people they start excited, but then they retreat. They don't get on the IPAs. They don't use our system and post twice a day, like Bob was talking about, and getting people coming to them. And then they don't plug into any energy. They don't go find a home party to go to. They don't tune into some live drop talks and hear those testimonials. So really all that brand new person that doesn't plug in is getting is negativity from their, from people that aren't seeing what they see. And all of a sudden they don't think it works and they don't know this whole world of success is going on right beside them. So as we end this segment, before you start interviewing people, like, tell us how your confidence built as you plugged in. And now then now it's like I always say, it's a pass on business. Now you've got this whole world of people that are plugging into you. I'm seeing everybody talk about how much they love you in the chat.
Well, I mean, like anything, right? If you're just hearing or seeing something, we have that negative, critical, oh, yeah, right. It's not going to work for me. It's going to work for everybody else. This is BS. And then you start pulling forward all the times things didn't work because that's how our brains work. So every person, I would celebrate the small wins. So every time I'd see something, it didn't matter whose team it was on, but especially on my team, the small victories, the small wins, $100, $200, a comma in the check, that was so exciting. I would use it to build. And then I've gotten really adept at rewiring. If something comes in that I think is negative or somebody says something negative to me, I will then, if I can, rework it with them and allow them to see it differently. But it really is a day in and a day out because there's this whole belief, and this is the religious thing, but Satan's coming at me. So you wake up, you open your eyes, and Satan's like, oh, darn, she's up today or he's up today. Things come at us to try to knock us down. So the continual plugging in and hearing people's stories, whether this level, it doesn't matter. It's all great food for our soul. But when you live it and you embody it, which I have at times careened off from the health standpoint, you can't help but emulate it because you are are being it. And women are very good at being it. We handle things a little differently with life. Men are go, 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 yang, yang, yang. Women are like, oh, bring it in, bring it in. So to answer your question, that's a long way around it, Todd, is just to continually reinforcing and walking the talk and plugging in and doing the posts and cheering for people. I love that I can't win unless other people are succeeding. That so fits my mission in life. It really does. And I want to thank you, Todd. You got on a plane, you drove, you waltzed into people's living rooms and gave me the opportunity in person to see how Todd does it, how Susan Cameron does it, how other people on our team do it. That is so powerful to have that information and experience it firsthand.
Well, Steph, you have a couple of traits that anybody that wants to have success needs to emulate. One is you have tremendous communication skills. Your communication, your posturing is really good. So everybody, and by the way, if you watch Steph, she's here every morning. Not only is she here, her camera's on. She's generally dressed. She's on Mountain Time. It's early her time. But you don't have to be like this. IPA call is not a roll call. We just want people to listen in. We know people are at work, all kind of stuff. But like as you progress into getting more serious at this, all those things become important. But you're always positive. You're always speaking life into people, not your problems. We all have problems. We all have issues going on. But in this business, our responsibility is to speak life into other people and hear their problems. And you just do an amazing job at that. And you're always plugged in. You're everywhere. So congratulations. And what I'm going to do now is turn it over to you and let you interview our IPAs of the day.